All right, gang, welcome back to the Dad and Buried podcast, episode something, the latest one.
No one knows.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about going to the restaurant or restaurants with kids.
It's like yelling at home, but in front of people through your teeth. Sit down.
And it costs it's not through my teeth.
Sit
I'm not scared
down.
to get out in the open about it.
You don't care.
We'll get into it in a minute.
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. We are back with the going to the... I keep saying going to the restaurant. Like there's restaurant.
Only one restaurant.
Once you've gone to a few, you kind of stick to one.
Yeah.
You find the one that works.
Yeah.
Going to restaurants with kids, a lot to talk about. Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys that you can now get us on iTunes and Stitcher and all the Android places. You can subscribe to those on Anchor, to whichever version of that platform you want to use.
Yep. You can also support us on Anchor as well if you want to do that, Anchor FM.
And you can support us on YouTube with likes and comments, and on Patreon where you can give us a couple of bucks, to help this little thing along. Like Dava Tuttle was the number one first Patreon, number one fan officially. Phil Mansfield, number two.
Dava.
Phil, if you up how much you're paying,
Yeah.
maybe if you leapfrog, maybe you'll be number one.
Maybe there's a spot.
So maybe somebody else will join in and be number one. You never know. It's a fluid thing.
Someone else will join in?
Up your game.
Interesting.
So I wanted something I wanted to address, Pete. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, since you are not.
No, why would I do that?
You're not active on Instagram, and it's frankly insulting.
Is it?
I'm used to family.
Then my
and
plan
friends.
has worked perfectly.
The long game on an insult. So I want to address these gloves, right? Literally no one I know likes these gloves, including me.
They make me sort of, how do you say, like physically ill.
Physically ill, yeah. Well, they're ugly, and they were longer gloves that my wife actually cut. And I can't find the good ones that she bought for me for Christmas. I think I lost them. I wore them once.
Did she do this out of spite?
No, she did it to help me because she loves me.
Why would cutting the fingers
Because I
on
need to be able to fucking
warm
touch
hand-
my phone up, and I can't. And none of those gloves that cover your fingers. That
So she had to
supposedly
take all
do
the
that.
fingers off? Not just like a little hole or one of them?
I don't know. I think that looks almost weirder. It's like you have the ET finger.
Yeah.
Elliot.
I hope that whoever's listening to this and not actually watching it on YouTube goes to YouTube and sees for themselves
Well,
just how gross these
so
gloves
Mike the
actually are.
Super did see for himself.
Oh, yeah.
And he was
Good call.
he was nice about it. He was subtle, and he said, "So is it cold where you record your podcast, or is that a fashion choice?" Now that.
To which you responded, I believe.
Fuck you, Mike. No, that's not true. He's right. These are gross. So are you. But he's wrong in that it's not cold, because it is cold. That didn't make a lot of sense. There's a hole in the window, folks, that you can't see.
This is
and it was
this
bitter
is not
today.
a set. Yeah, and it's
This
negative.
is not a set. This is someone's life we've dropped into.
3
Somebody
degrees
who
outside.
likes-
Oh, thank you very much for the
There you
person
go.
outside on the BQE
Wow, right on-
demonstrating that
right
there's
on
a
cue.
big ass hole right behind me.
So
and
hey,
then-
Mike the Super, maybe next time, walk in somebody else's shoes, or realize that you might not know the full story.
Yeah, walk in
behind
someone
these
else's
gloves.
shoes like Mike does, or wear someone else's gloves
Wear my
like
gloves.
Mike does.
Maybe you'll see what it's like.
Yeah, I don't think let's not put that pain on other people. Let's just.
I can already tell he has no empathy. Sorry, Mike. It's true.
I'm sure he's fine.
Anyway, so the topic
Oh yes.
today
let's
is
do it.
going to restaurants with children. People had a lot to say.
Mike,
most of it negative.
Can I interest you? Like, after this, would you like to go to a really tiny restaurant with all of the kids, wives, and sit? Because it is, it's later in the evening.
Not only would I
Wouldn't that
like
be
to
fun?
go,
It's really
not only
small.
would I like to go, the smaller the better.
Yes.
Tin ceilings, so the sound ricochets.
Yeah. The tables are really close together, so if anyone were to knock anything,
So
over it goes.
have you met my toddler who is a little bit speech delayed and likes to scream in lieu of sentences?
Yeah, he's a real bastard.
Everyone's going to meet him pretty soon at that restaurant, and they're going to love it.
No, that was just a joke. But yes, kids are. Let's be honest, and
That's what we're
what
always
we're here
honest
for. And kids are dicks when it comes to going to
100%.
restaurants. Toddlers specifically.
I'm taking these off, all right?
Yeah.
Now
Take
I'm
off your
self-conscious
gloves.
about them. Okay, Mike.
Good.
See what you did?
But that wasn't always the case.
What, kids weren't always dicks?
Yes, in fact,
I know what
there
you're
is
gonna
a
say.
time when you first get that little tiny nugget home and you're putting them in the car seat and they don't do anything other than sleep and eat
And poop.
and poop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time. That's the time you go to the restaurant. Even though you're sort of disoriented. It's the first time you bring him home. You got to go out and you got to get your whatever you can on
So
in that restaurant.
this is something that Mom and Barry and I talked about a lot at the beginning. We moved to Brooklyn, which is the area of Brooklyn we moved to. Park Slope was a very kid-friendly, dangerous back in the day. Having your first kid, lived in the city, and now are kind of trying to get a little quieter slice of life in Brooklyn or whatever. Even though it's not quieter, I'm just saying this is what some people had in mind.
Okay.
And everywhere we went, bars, restaurants that served drinks, the only kind of restaurants I go to, frankly.
Yeah.
People were bringing their babies, and we used to bring ours when we just had one.
Right.
And he slept the whole time.
Right.
Like if you time it with his nap, you're eating, you're drinking.
And then immediately that feeling, we touched about this earlier, that feeling of this isn't
This
so
is so
hard.
easy.
Yeah,
We're always going to do this.
What is so
Why
hard
don't
about
people
this?
do this more?
I think-
Idiots.
we
cracked
figured
the
it
code.
out.
Yeah,
We
we've
figured
done
it out.
We are the
because
best
this
parents
baby,
that
we're
have
the
ever
best
lived.
parents. Also the coolest because we're drinking and we're pretty buzzed.
And
at
I
this
was
point.
probably, when I went, I was probably wearing some kind of like vintage rock tee.
What about those gloves?
I didn't have these gloves always, but I have always liked fingerless gloves. Fun
Okay.
fact about me.
That's
Nate is shaking
neither-
his head in disdain. Hey, Nate.
That's neither
You were
fun
like
nor a
6
fact.
years old when I had my first kid.
Yeah.
God damn it.
All right.
Millennials.
So we got at some point going to restaurants with a very small baby is actually
Easy.
fine.
It's just
not
like
a big
carrying
deal.
a handbag,
Yeah, it's
right?
not a big.
They're
You put it over.
inconvenient, but they're not hard, right?
I think there might have been at least one time where I walked out of a restaurant. I was like, "Ooh," and had to run back. And
Oh, because you forgot the baby.
yeah, I think there was probably
you
something
almost
like that.
you got this close to changing
And
your life.
then there was a second time where I turned around. I was like, maybe.
So
if
I thought you were
just-
gonna say you walked out of the restaurant with the baby because the baby was screaming.
No.
Because that you need to do that.
No, I leave the
sometimes,
baby
right?
in the restaurant
you
when
leave.
it. Yeah, I like to mix it
But
up
I mean,
a
look,
little bit.
obviously, like when you're on an airplane, what are you gonna do, right? You can't leave with your baby. But if you're in a restaurant and your baby starts
Right.
freaking out and you need to bring him outside, to give him a minute so you're not disturbing everyone else's
Right.
meal,
Right.
do it. Because when they become toddlers, it gets a lot harder to control them, and you can't just walk outside with them.
Right.
You fucking have to get the check.
So as a parent of three, just seeing a new
Oh
parent.
my God, with the parent, we
Yeah.
know you have three.
I have a
It's
lot
not,
of kids.
don't
I
blame
have a lot of
me
kids, so-
for your mistakes.
No, it's not a mistake. It's sort of just power
Oh,
of
is it?
numbers.
Power,
In
yeah.
numbers,
Look,
yeah.
More power to you. I'm
Yeah,
happy
well,
with the two.
That's sort of the joke's on me, I think. At
And
this
the
point.
joke is on you.
But when new parents are
All three of them are.
at the restaurant trying to calm the baby. Oh, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you tired? And you're just like, you know what? You should just actually go outside.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Deal with that.
Like, get out of my face with that.
Deal with that shit out there.
Get
I
out of
don't
my
want to. I don't
face.
need to see you pretending that you know what you're doing.
So
'cause you don't.
It's funny. So I wrote a blog post a few years ago because there's a restaurant in California. It's not the only one. It was just whatever was trending in the news that day that had announced that it was banning children, right? And around here in Brooklyn, you'll get like no strollers or
Right.
no kids after a certain time. And people got fucking bullshit. And I wrote a post being like, I don't care if there's a handful of restaurants that don't allow
Right.
kids. When I want to
Right.
go to those restaurants, like when I go out on a date with my
Yeah,
wife, those are
exactly.
the restaurants I want to go to.
Right.
I don't want to be around children, especially other people's children. Get out of my face. I'm not going to fucking hate you if you bring your... Yeah, I will hate you during the time that I'm at the restaurant that your child is there being an asshole.
What about the time?
but I
directly
understand.
after. Still hate?
No, that's what I'm saying. Probably not.
When
It
does the hate
depends.
go away?
It depends. I'm a pretty...
Year 4?
I hold on to things.
Okay.
You know? All right?
It's like carbon dating.
But, you know, there should be places everywhere you can bring kids. And somebody commented about, like, I don't like this, the way society is going and that there are all these no kids allowed places. I'm like, what? I'm like, I feel like it's going the other way.
Yeah.
Kids and parents get a lot of special treatment,
Yeah.
which is fine. And I appreciate that special treatment a lot of the time. But I'm not going to begrudge a restaurant for being like, no kids. I don't get mad at weddings for being no kids.
Right.
Although I did get mad at my brother and his wife because my 8-year-old was in the wedding.
Let's bring it out.
But
Let's
my
hear it.
baby couldn't go to the wedding, so not in any of the photos. didn't get to see my best man speech that I fucking rocked. I legit rocked it.
Okay.
I have some footage of that. I'm gonna throw that on Instagram.
Please
Maybe
don't do
on
that.
YouTube. It's good. Killed it.
Let's actually go back, because I think some of your followers they know what a pain in the ass
I appreciate you saying my followers, since they are mine. I have earned them, and you have zero to do with any of this.
Look at what I've brought. I brought this computer.
Second man's poor man's Michael Fassbender, as somebody referred to you.
Extremely poor.
Right?
Slumdog
Have you
millionaire.
seen that guy naked? You wish.
Yeah, I do wish. I wish I saw him.
Nate,
naked.
have you seen that guy naked?
Yeah, I think we all
most
wish
of our listeners have seen him naked. Believe me,
we could see him naked right now. But this computer represents my input. So let's go there. What can be a pain in the ass about the rest? About
are you
taking
serious?
Yeah, I am.
How
serious.
long is this episode? What could be a pain in the ass? Bringing them, finding parking.
Strollers.
Already
You mentioned the stroller.
fitting strollers,
Jesus.
bringing strollers
Oh my
in,
God.
getting a high chair if you have to, letting the kid doesn't want a high chair, so letting him sit in a real seat, but he can't reach the food falling. I mean, look, I can go on and on and on. Knocking the crayons over, dumping out the sugar packets, pouring the salt and pepper everywhere. Then you got to throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Because you don't want bad luck.
Yeah. But let's like Vidam SV.
Vidam, that's Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's been following me for a while.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
The Muscles from Brussels. He's a big Dad and Buried fan.
Just right after he did that.
I couldn't
Splits.
think. I was gonna say I couldn't think of a celebrity I'd care less about following me than him. Except I can definitely care less. There's a lot.
Really?
More. He'd be pretty
JCVD.
Cool. I'm not a big
He's kind
Van
of come
Damme
back.
guy.
He's kind of come back.
I'm trying to think when I liked those kinds of movies, like the kung fu movies. Not
no,
really
but
kung
he
fu.
came back with that
Seagal?
JCVD movie. That was really.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
No, he's had a couple
of
self.
Tim really likes that. So
reflective
that's another one you like.
ideas. Yeah.
That's what he does now. He does a self-parody now in like shows where he plays himself, pokes fun at himself, which is a welcome quality in a diminutive martial artist.
Okay. So you're way down a rabbit hole. We're gonna go back.
We didn't even get to Seagal.
we didn't get to Seagal, but let's hear.
Have you seen Steven Seagal naked?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's,
Wow.
yeah, right
Nate
up there
with the
Michael,
callback. That was just that
Michael
was gross.
Fassbender. So let's.
I've seen him with clothes on, and that's enough.
Oh my God, it is gross. Let's hear
I'm sorry, Pete.
what
What
Vidam
did you wanna talk about?
SV had to say.
Oh, they said that bringing your kids to a restaurant was the equivalent to hell.
Yep.
Would rather eat glass than go ever again until they're at least 10. Guess what? Something tells me not going to be better when they're at least 10. Still going to suck.
It gets better.
But I want to know how she really feels, because she'd
Yeah.
rather eat glass. Don't you like that joke? How do you really feel? I hate that joke, actually, and I just did it.
Yeah.
When somebody like tells you the unvarnished truth, or like a really passionate anger towards something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but how do you really feel? Shut up.
Yeah.
Right?
I definitely understand that last part of your sentence. So what else? What else we got?
What do you mean? What else we got? We got
yeah,
what? Good stuff or the bad stuff?
the bad stuff.
Oh my God.
No, we have Justin Me and David M. Porter.
Oh yeah, they said don't do it. I mean, it's nothing very specific. Everyone knows you shouldn't do
Yeah.
it. But we were like very much like, fuck that noise. We're gonna be those parents that don't lose a social life just because we have kids.
Yeah.
We're gonna fucking teach them how to behave. It's gonna be great. And then we had a kid, and like 3 months in, I was giving my kid an iPad.
Yeah.
Just take it.
There was a time when I went out to eat and my kids were unexpectedly good.
Oh my God.
I was
One
I
time.
was
What
ready.
was the date?
It was last year. We actually went to
All three.
everybody. We went to like a really nice restaurant upstate New York. It wasn't a kid, quote
Friendly
unquote,
establishment.
friendly establishment. And do you know what? I was both. We were so hungry. My wife was hungry. We were just like, let's go eat. We found this it was one of the older restaurants in the state or something. It was
What
old.
part of the
old.
state is this? Upstate?
Kingston.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
brewery there, yeah.
Yeah. And I could not believe it. They ate everything. I was totally shocked.
Was the food good?
And I needed like the Guinness Book of World Records to like
It has happened, folks. The
officiate
first time
and
ever.
just
The
basically
Anderson
say,
family,
yeah,
3 children, have
they actually
conducted
did
themselves.
it in a proper manner. And
It's tougher with
without
3. I mean, as the viewers know, Pete has 3 kids,
Yeah.
which is one more than I have. because somehow he thinks it makes him
sign.
superior.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. But yeah, that's impressive. You know, I don't know that I've ever had my 2 kids behave,
I know.
unless they're
It was the one I don't to
eating
this
French
day.
fries.
To this day, I'm like I play it back in my
right,
mind.
just
and
when
I just
you need
don't
like a dose of serotonin.
Yeah,
Is
just
that
to
what
like,
it is when you feel happy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dopamine. Nice.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the older they get, they want to be occupied.
But man, when they're toddlers and they're just squirming.
Well, the toddlers will get down and they'll like run around.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't want to sit still.
And that's where the through the teeth comes in. You
scream
down.
through the
Yeah,
teeth.
you're trying to like scream.
Yeah, you don't want to scream out. And
But
then since every once in a while you get the dirty looks, or somebody comes over and gives you shit.
Well, first of all, what time are you going out in order for someone to be giving you dirty looks? If you're
It
eating,
doesn't matter.
like no, if you're eating at 5:00 and some person in there is eating their dinner with no kids
An
at
old
5:00,
the early bird.
then the early bird
just
gets
because
the
it's
shaft.
not reasonable
in
for
that
them to be
restaurant.
upset in whatever circumstances are taking
No,
place.
I
doesn't mean they don't get upset.
No, I think that there is a time box around when you can get upset. If it is
I
between
understand.
4 and 6, you cannot get upset
But-
because what the fuck are you doing in that restaurant between 4 and 6?
You can't, but some people do because they're fucking jerk offs and they don't.
Okay.
They don't.
Why are you going to the restaurant by yourself? Okay, if you're old, you're just gonna be crotchety. But if you're like throwing shade or giving
Whatever, man.
attitude because it's like
People are
6
assholes.
If it's
Case
8
in
o'clock,
point.
now listen. If it's 8 o'clock,
Fucking enormous case in point.
well, if
8
it's
o'clock is still early for me. When my
No.
kids,
to a restaurant, get out of here.
they love eating late.
No.
French
Really?
fries, chicken nugs.
No.
There's
Then
no clock on those.
already.
That's breakfast, brunch,
No, I already.
lunch, and
it's not
dinner.
about the food,
Late night
dude. It's
snack.
when you go to the
Pizza
restaurant.
rolls.
It's when you go to the restaurant.
I understand. No, I don't bring my kids to the
Do you?
restaurant at 8 o'clock. I learned long ago.
Okay.
I'm on my couch at 8 o'clock, and they're in bed quiet, or there's going to be hell to pay,
Yeah,
right?
and you pay it every night.
Every night.
Here you go. Here's some more money. Please leave me alone.
I had a conversation with my son today about how things are expensive, and he says something about how kids are expensive. I said, yeah. And he said, except me. I'm like, what the fuck? No. Here, take a look. Here's the ledger. Just your video games.
Yeah, alone.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Which he brings to the restaurant. You know what? Because Mama Barry and I want to eat and have a conversation in
Right.
peace, and we don't want to disrupt everybody in the restaurant, so we let them have screen
Yeah,
time.
I think that's fair enough.
Do you think so? Because I sense a little hesitation there.
No, I
You
think
judging
no.
me?
Yep. I mean, always judging.
Well,
you.
yeah, but about
I mean,
this
look at those
specific-
gloves are literally
I mean,
still on the table.
Exhibit A.
It's hard for me
Well,
not
where
to.
should I put them? Out the hole in the window?
Yeah, actually, sure. No, I
Do you give your kids
Well,
tablets and screens at the restaurant?
do 100%. What I do is I try and pace it out, right?
Yeah.
Because what I want to be able to do is I need them to order, I need them to
Right.
eat, and then I need me to eat.
Well, yeah.
And so I need to figure out the balance
If
because
they
I
have the
can't-
tablet and they won't eat,
So here's
they're
what
they're zoned in. They're jacked in like Neo.
Well,
right?
you gotta bring-
Mr. Anderson.
you got to bring the
practicing
pack. You got to bring. First of all, we don't go anywhere
Well, people,
without
some of my
crayons
listeners talked about bringing
and-
like a backpack full
Yeah.
of crayons and
Oh.
toys and books.
Yes.
It's like going on a road trip. Every time you go
exactly.
anywhere with little kids, you're like packing the caravan.
Yeah.
You need everything. You never know what they're
just
going to
saying
want.
that makes me kind of
Yeah,
right
you
here,
have to
I feel
bring a
it.
toy they haven't played with in 6 months because one of these days
Exactly.
that's going to be the one they want and they won't calm down.
And then especially when you have multiples, when you have 3, it's like, no, I
Oh my
want
God,
that blue
Jesus
coin.
Christ, we
blue.
know you
know
have
what I mean?
3 kids.
Because I have 3. So all 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3.
I'm gonna need, if you
they
keep
have
talking
different
about it, I'm
points
going to
of
need your
view.
vomit bowl.
Sorry, it's being occupied by those gloves.
You know what? I can throw my gloves out. You can't throw your 3 kids out.
That's true. That's true. But what my point is I like to
Moving
space it
on.
out. I like to space it out. So crayons, anytime you go to a restaurant and they have the crayons, that's like when you know it's a solid.
Yeah, but then the crayon
it's a
keeps
solid
falling.
restaurant.
If you have like a toddler in a high
yeah.
chair, holy shit. I'm getting like ab crunches to go down and pick up the crayon. That's why I'm so fit.
Yeah.
One of the reasons, right?
Right.
You should check out my toddler exercise equivalency chart. I made one about how you don't have to go to the gym if you have a toddler because like bending down to pick them up.
Right.
You do fucking squats. It's
Yeah.
it's a laugh riot.
Is it
what it is.
comedy gold? Okay. Cool. Be sure to check that
It
one
was
out.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
Sounds about right.
A lot of French fries ago.
A lot of French fries.
Dad
Well,
bought
that's
a
what else
salad.
What else are you gonna eat with the kids? Just that's
Well,
all.
no,
they,
right? So you let the kids choose.
Oh,
Hopefully, there's a kids
that's
menu.
the
Hold on.
w-
Hopefully,
yeah.
you have a kids menu.
No, I
And-
won't hold on.
You used to
so
let them
angry.
choose, and then you narrow it down to the one or two things they're going to get. The worst part is they always only get more expensive versions of shit that
Right.
you have in your freezer.
Right.
Chicken nuggets, fucking mac and cheese,
Pizza.
grilled cheese, maybe.
Yeah.
Some kind of sandwich, like a bunch of garbage you can make for like a tenth of the cost.
Right.
And then they don't eat it, and then you eat it, and you put on some extra pounds.
Right. Yeah.
It's a chain reaction. Having kids really destroys incrementally and sequentially.
Or what about when the
every
server
bit of your
server
life.
comes over and the kid immediately starts
Talking to the server.
Yes, like saying, "I want this,"
Yeah,
and then the server
asking-
starts to write it down. You're like,
No,
"Whoa,
no,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yo,
whoa,
buddy.
whoa."
Yeah, he's not the boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody.
He's got to go through
Yeah.
my filter here.
Yeah, and then I turn
And then
around
he's yelling
and
a
I
bunch
said,
of
yes.
shit, and you're like, no, he'll
Chocolate
have,
milk.
right? Like
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
ordering for a woman. I'm just kidding. Hashtag me too, right?
Hashtag too late.
Yeah, that's too soon.
Too soon. So yeah, no, I think the kids when they just leave it all. Did you eat enough? Because guess what? After you shelled out all that cash,
Yeah, they want
guess what
snacks.
happens 2 minutes
Yeah,
later?
they want snacks.
I'm
Can
hungry.
I have a snack? Yeah, you can have a
hungry.
knuckle sandwich. Get it? Child abuse.
This podcast is called Dad and Buried.
So hold
there's-
on.
Yeah.
Something I want to bring up that you mentioned here is that your oldest daughter, who's 11.
Yeah.
So when my son is like wants to drink, like his special drink, if he ever gets it, is soda. And if we ever get him
Right.
soda, we make sure it's like Sprite or something that's
Right.
caffeine free. And it's usually just like at the movies once every like 6 months, right? Usually it's just juice and shit. At a restaurant or something, maybe he'll get a Shirley Temple, which I used to love. I could literally drink a
My
bottle
middle
of grenadine.
Daughter
right now.
loves.
You got to call him a Mickey Mantle if you are misogynistic. Okay, it's like the male equivalent. They'll call or Roy Rogers, one of those.
Okay.
They change it from Shirley Temple if like the little boy feels like a wuss for ordering something with a girl's name.
That's so stupid.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pointing right at Mike.
So he'll get something like Shirley Temple, but it says here your daughter, 11, now orders coffee when you go to restaurants.
Coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee talk? Okay. Yeah.
Coffee talk.
So she
I'm
does. So
verklempt.
this is a new thing.
New development.
She went on a field trip like a
Where?
month ago.
Columbia?
No, to the Broadway here in Times Square.
Oh, I've
here
heard
in
of
New
it.
York.
I've heard of one of those.
They went to Olive Garden. Classic move. Apparently, could you imagine the worst?
Little
thing?
Italy, clearly.
Could you imagine the worst thing than going to Olive
Go to
Garden,
Times Square and then go to Olive Garden.
What
literally,
class trip
yeah.
would go to Times Square, Olive Garden? Anyway,
There's worse restaurants there. Dave and Buster's might be worse than doing that.
yeah,
For an
yeah,
adult.
Yeah. So anyway, so she gets, and the chaperone is one of the parents. My daughter orders coffee, and the chaperone
Lets it go?
Lets it go. And then she proceeds to order 4 more cups of coffee.
Does she
My daughter had
drink
4 cups of
coffee at
no,
home?
No.
Was this like
Yeah.
I can get away with
Yes.
this and I really want to try
Yes.
coffee? And then
Yes.
she tastes it. She was like, it's so good when
Yeah.
it hits your lips.
Yep.
She turned into Frank the Tank and,
And
got
then-
4 more.
And then she had 4
Good
more.
for her.
And then most recently, I think it was last weekend or the weekend before, we were at a diner, and she says, "I'll have a coffee." The server looks at me like, "You gonna let this shit stand?"
Yeah, right. How dare
And-
you even? How
and
did
I
you even get
immediately-
this idea?
And then I'm looking at her, and I just had that choice, which is like, are we gonna make this a really big thing now? Because
No.
she's gonna
She wants to be. An
she
adult.
was gonna make it a big thing. So I said decaf, and I was like half,
Mm-hmm.
and I made the half symbol, and then the server and I kind of shared a knowing
You guys did
knowing
it
nod,
together.
like
Together.
she's branching out.
So, but I have a question about this, right? So, when I was a kid, coffee wasn't everywhere, right? You weren't going to Starbucks like in the 80s. You know, teenagers weren't really drinking it.
Right.
On TV shows, I remember watching like the OC, which I'm sure you've never seen and you've never heard of.
Never wanted to see it.
The kids would drink coffee. There was a coffee in their high school, and then like there's a couple like that Gilmore Girls show my wife watched.
Right.
The high school kids are drinking coffee all the time, and I'm like, my son who's 8 is still at the stage where like he'll take a sip of coffee and think it's gross. Same with
Right.
like beer, right?
Right.
At some point that kind of shit changes, whether it's an acquired taste or
I think it's
something
at
just
10.
happens.
The
That's what I'm asking.
At beer,
But
becomes the main.
That's so weird that like coffee is now like a nonstop everyday drink for like teenagers.
Well,
I'd have like one at like a diner once in a while.
Personally,
and it would be
I actually
cool.
don't drink coffee that much
Oh my God,
myself.
I'm sorry, folks. The auditions for a new host are underway.
But they're not going
Doesn't
very
drink
well.
coffee.
Yeah.
You have kids?
I have kids, but I don't.
You one of those Diet Coke people?
No, I do cocaine.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really, but I'm not. I think this is really just an attempt, coffee as an attempt to establish self-identity.
Yeah, sure. And she wants to be seen as like more grown up or
Yeah.
whatever a little bit
So
too.
that's okay.
Good for her.
Yeah,
you know?
good for her.
4 in one day. That must have been a fun evening. I imagine you stayed out and let your wife handle that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. No, she was actually okay. What's interesting is that she already has unbelievable amount of energy to begin with.
That must have been
it's
great.
actually hard to distinguish. It's
my
actually
toddler-
indistinguishable.
My wife left like a half finished can of like 5-hour energy lying around, and she found my fucking toddler with it.
Oh,
But I don't think he got any of it.
okay.
If anybody's listening, he certainly didn't get any of it, and my wife didn't even leave that around. And I'm totally making this up.
Yeah.
It
So
happened.
you heard it. You heard about
happened. I
it
heard it through the grapevine.
through your
He
other
seems
son.
fine. You can't tell the difference between a hyper toddler and a hyper toddler. It's just,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what does it. They're always like that.
Right.
But no, my kid's not ordering anything like that, and unless maybe for dessert he'll get an espresso. But
But
we
that's
coming from an Italian family.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
Let's
Now let's talk about restaurants
let's
can
talk
go
about,
to.
You keep doing that, and I start going into salt and pepper.
Okay.
Sorry, salt and pepper.
Yeah. Come on. Restaurants that you can go to. So like,
Any you want. This is America.
is it not like in California where you can't bring your kids to?
Well, only that one restaurant. Well, you know what? It's America. They can say no kids.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
I don't know.
into it.
You're really all over the road on this this stance. But you mentioned it before. But bringing your kids to a place where you can consume alcohol
Yes.
is a very good idea for
is key.
everybody involved,
100%. Even the kids.
even the kids, because you're just like, you know what?
Once you have a beer in front of you, you're not paying attention to your kids. You're focused on that
Yeah.
alcohol.
Everything sort of like it's
Kids
just
running around.
zooms into
The
that
waiters
beer. Yeah.
and the service and the kitchen staff, they're like, sure, we'll take
Yeah.
care of your kids.
Right.
They love it.
They do.
They love it.
They do love
When I
it.
let my kids just fucking go nuts, especially like a beer garden outside. No liability or anything there.
Beer gardens.
These places love it. So that's what somebody, Vanner Danner mentioned the beer garden, said it's crucial to go somewhere that serves beer. A couple other people said, or one person said, I only go to, I think, the Texas Roadhouse because it's so loud. I don't
Right.
have to worry about my kids being loud,
Yeah.
which is clutch, right? Because
is
nothing is louder than a kid in a quiet place, as you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
the small, tiny restaurant. But you go somewhere that's already loud, cares?
cares?
You go nuts, kids. Get out
Well,
of your
that's
system.
that's why the beer hall, which is a new fad, relatively new fad.
Bad.
Yeah, there's beer halls. How long have beer halls been around
I don't know.
in-
Ask Hitler.
in New York?
And his famous beer hall putsch.
Why would I
Well,
do
I just
that?
explained to you why. You can Wikipedia that after, okay, guys?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just glad this particular episode didn't get weird.
This was the first time I
yeah.
think we brought up Hitler, though, so
Yep.
kudos to us.
Kudos to us. Well, it had to happen sooner or later.
Yep.
So beer halls are actually a very, very good place to have kids because they're big. There's a lot of space
Wait. To have kids? Like
to birth
to
kids.
birth kids? Yeah. I prefer,
Is
a lot
what
of
I
people
meant.
prefer, like, pools in their kitchen.
Not me.
Me, beer hall every time.
Big time beer hall guy.
A lot of people with aprons.
There was a time actually. There's a lot of
You
beer
keep
halls.
saying there was a time.
Yeah. Well,
And it makes me think of Billy Joel,
Oh
which was
my
my
God.
prom song. There was a time to hold on to.
I feel like we
'cause
should
won't,
interview
although
new.
we'll want
We should
to.
look for new hosts.
That was my prom song.
We should look for new hosts for this particular podcast. I'm not sure exactly
Nate
which
liked
one.
that.
We should just
Look
replace
at
the
him over
both
there.
of us.
He loved it.
Yeah.
I'll do some more. It's actually, I got the lyrics wrong. It wasn't there was a time. It's this is the time. But it worked because I was making fun of you for always saying it. And then people wanted to hear my Billy Joel rendition.
Okay. Are we done?
I could keep
Okay.
fucking go for hours.
I remember. I remember when there are a lot of beer halls in Brooklyn where we live.
Yes. Beer gardens. Can we call them beer gardens?
Beer gardens.
It
Okay.
makes me more comfortable.
Beer hall, beer garden. Fine, beer garden. And I remember my daughter looking at me. We would go to them often, and she looked and she's like, "Which beer garden is this beer garden?" You know,
Yeah, right.
we had just been to so many.
My kid will request it. can we go to the beer garden?
Oh, nice.
Like legit like that. And I'm like, fucking A right.
Yeah.
Monday at 11 a.m. Let's do this. You're not going to
See
school
you later,
today, son.
school. Stupid idiot.
Going to the beer garden. But you don't need to. There's a good thing with like a loud place or a place like that. You don't necessarily need to give them the screen time thing because they've got shit going on. And a lot of parents. So I got into it on my Instagram a little bit, having a bit of a rough week. And I asked a question about. I had a meme that was like it was a fake conversation between my wife and I about should we let the kids, or is letting the kids have screen time at dinner bad parenting? And then I say, who cares? It's good customering. It's good customering. Hold for applause.
Okay,
all right,
so this is
anyway,
the last episode of
thank
Dad
you,
and Barry.
No, come on, this is fucking gold. Anyway, so yeah, and I wrote about how as long as the kids are quiet, I don't care.
Yeah,
what I got to do to get there.
That's it.
And someone, Krista Burns 01, objected, or at least I jumped down her throat as if she had attacked me and my family personally by suggesting that using screens at a restaurant is not only uncivilized, but you're not teaching your kids respect and politeness, table manners and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? If you run into a family and you see them at a restaurant and their kids are watching screens, unless you follow them around and go to the restaurant with them every time, like, you don't know. Maybe this is just one time. For me, I give my kids a screen every single time because I want to have a good time.
And for
it's
me,
not possible.
I follow that family around.
But exactly, so
Yeah.
But it's possible to teach kids politeness and table manners
in their
in
driveway.
other settings.
Yeah.
But
everywhere.
it's like people that are like, when I fly with my kid, I don't let him use the screen because he's got to learn. I'm like, no,
that
you're
person's a
punishing
psychopath.
Everybody else in your vicinity.
No one would say that.
Society.
Yeah.
Okay,
society.
Anyway, so I ended up apologizing to Krista Burns because I got my blood up.
You got your knickers in a twist.
And I wanted to apologize, Krista. I didn't mean it. We're still friends.
Okay, good. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
She's wrong, but it doesn't mean we have to be enemies.
Okay.
Just much like you and I are enemies, even though we agree on a fair amount of things.
Frenemies.
You just coined that? You just come up with that?
Yeah, I just came up with that right now.
I like it. We should rename the podcast.
Yeah. So, I wanted to say. I know what I wanted to say. So, have you been to Buffalo Wild Wings?
Unfortunately, once or twice. Yes.
This is like a deposition.
I'd like that stricken from the record.
What time? What was the date?
I object to
August 31st.
my own life.
Yes. So you are familiar with
BW3?
the game thing they give you.
No.
The kids. Oh, really?
No. Maybe I haven't
so
been in a while.
I went not too long ago. I can't remember what it was.
It was this afternoon, wasn't it?
It was at
right
3
right
o'clock.
before I came
yeah,
here.
It was somewhere at 3 o'clock. No, it was in
Sick happy hour place.
December. It's a burger joint.
Yeah,
it's a sports bar. No, it's a sports bar. Is what it is.
It's gonna be rocking during March Madness.
Okay.
In a couple of weeks.
So
you ever heard of it, March Madness?
Yeah, the kids sit down and the servers literally put a pile of tablets on the table.
Right. Okay.
And it was again,
they're all different or they're all the same?
They're all the same.
And you can do whatever you want on them?
The only difference is which one has more disgusting shit on it, food-wise.
Oh, you mean, yeah.
Than the other one.
Off?
Why would you do that?
Don't you have baby wipes with you?
No.
Why? You have a 4-year-old?
All I do is I just lick my finger and then I just wipe it over and then I put it on my toddler's lips and I say, shh.
It's a little
rest.
Here's a little
and I say
tax.
Rest.
You don't need to know what's on my finger.
Honestly, at the end of the day,
you just made me do that.
Immune system is going to be so strong.
We've talked about the immune system before. I agree. Exposing kids to Buffalo Wild Wings is a really good way to get them exposed to a lot of stuff.
And you know what's? I have to say, the food was as to be expected, but what was great was a couple of the tablets weren't working.
Oh no!
And guess what? My tablet's not working. And
you asked the waiter
that?
Yeah,
the server comes over and they swap them out. And now you're like,
back in action.
Back in action. So where were we as we continue our conversation to, I'm pretending you're the person I
understand. That's insulting.
Yeah.
I would never go to dinner with you.
The conversation I was having with the person at Buffalo Wild
Wings. But I
like
like your strategy where you're like, you know what? I'm kind of neutral on the idea of screen time during dinner. I just do what Buffalo Wild Wings thinks is good parenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I defer to my waiter at Buffalo Wild Wings. What do you think we should do?
What would Buffalo
Teach
Wild
my
Wings
children
do?
table manners, or
What would Buffalo Wild Wings
exactly?
do?
You should get that tattoo.
I do. Actually.
That's a lot of W's.
Well, you know what? Luckily, they had enough.
It's 4
ink.
W's. What would Buffalo Wild Wings do? That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Good job. Good job in really
Thanks,
nailing
man.
that down.
You know what?
But
Common Core.
but you know what they've done is Buffalo Wild Wings has figured out the problem and they solved it with devices.
Right, and that, like
and
I said,
screens.
and unlike Krista Burns, who clearly has never worked at a Buffalo Wild Wings or been anywhere near one, good for her. Actually, I like her more and more.
Yeah.
But I don't think the screen time every once in a while is a big deal. Everything in moderation, as they say, including bringing your kids to restaurants, because the bad outweighs the good in almost every way.
Have you ever been to a restaurant that has a play space in it?
Yes. Funny, because that place you mentioned, like in the Catskills in Kingston that you went to, there's one. We go to the Catskills every once in a while. We have friends who let us use their cabin, and there's like Brooklyn Transplants who opened a high-class restaurant.
Yeah.
It's fucking unbelievably good, locally sourced. It's so good. Farm to table. What are some other bullshit terms I could say? Organic. Farm to table is a good one. But they have the inside the restaurant, they have a little play area for kids.
Yeah.
Like right off the bar. And the bar's
good.
a little fancier and you can eat in it if you want to. It's amazing. Like it's Mom and Barry's favorite restaurant
It's
of all
so
time
smart.
because of that.
Yeah.
And apparently one of the users is from Brazil or lives in Brazil and said that in most restaurants, this is Jenny Ginger. She said that in Brazil, most restaurants, even fancy ones, have an indoor playroom or playground for kids. And that's what I said. The place in the Catskills is kind of like that. It has that little area. It's amazing.
Brazil sounds like a magical place.
It does sound like a magical place.
Like a beautifully magical place.
Is from there.
And
You might run into Tom Brady.
the land of play spaces. Yeah, that's probably why he married her.
Right. Yeah, the play space part.
Yeah.
What do we got? We got anything else?
I think that's it. I think we really tore this one up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thought you were gonna say something a little off color there, my friend.
not me.
Not you.
So let's see. Do we have any other comments we got here from anybody?
No, but I do want to say if you like Mike the Super don't like my gloves, you know what? Do something about it. Go to Patreon. Maybe I'll get some new gloves. Right?
We need, and maybe we'll fix this hole. Also, maybe we'll get a place where you don't hear people vacuuming and doors
cars
slamming.
honking.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's charming though.
and homeless people trying to
Homeless
break
people.
in. Well,
You
be
calling me
fair-
homeless?
No,
First
yeah.
of all,
no homeless person would be seen
caught dead in these gloves. You know what? They keep my palms.
Sweaty.
They keep my palms warm.
Nice and
Mom's
sweaty.
spaghetti.
For when you go through
Lose yourself.
when you pick through the garbage, you can. Oh, this is good.
I realized in doing that thing where I make a pop culture reference and then look at the screen and say what I'm referencing is something I think like Michael Scott did on The Office, or maybe Ricky Gervais on the David
Right.
Brent in the original Office, where he would say something really obvious. Yeah, there you go, pretty good. And then so what I'm saying is, I'm great. I think that pop culture thing.
Wow.
People are really enjoying it.
Cool. Way to really,
Right?
really put a bow on it. And,
Speaking
and
of the
tie
microphone,
this- tie
Squid
this
Brain.
up. Okay.
Who can tell me what that is? You get a free sticker once we start making stickers.
Yeah.
Look at Nate. He's so frustrated.
Yeah,
He
I
doesn't
know.
know. He's such a youngster. He doesn't know these films that we reference.
I know. All right. I think we got it. Do we make sure to listen to
YouTube,
us? Yeah.
Subscribe on Anchor.
Let us know. Let us know what
we
we're
need
doing.
more of your feedback.
Give us
all
some
right?
feedback.
Do you like the gloves? Do you hate the gloves?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's probably should be the main.
Are we glad
thing.
that Mike has his hat back? Because
But
that's apparently
they are
something.
glad.
Okay.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't shaved since I shaved.
Also, our
I hate
Patreon
being
heroes
clean-shaven.
and
Dava Tuttle and Phil Mansfield
you
up in
guys
this
are
piece,
amazing.
making us proud.
you guys are amazing. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll
Thank
catch
you,
you next
Pete.
time. Thank you, Mike. Finger pistols.
It's called finger guns.
Finger guns. Bye.